Welcome back to Creating Magic Podcast. I'm Dani.
And I'm Paula, and today we are joined by Mari.
Hi.
And we are going to talk about Emerald City Comic Con.
Yes. Tell me all the things. I have questions.
The convention with a million C's in its name.
ECCCC?
ECCCC? Yes.
Yeah.
So Mari and I and our friend Becca went over the weekend, flew to Seattle for Emerald City for our first Emerald City experience.
I have a very important question.
Okay.
You obviously found an aquarium there.
Yes.
You were there, right? That's like,
yes,
I feel like you don't really go to conventions. You don't go to conventions for conventions. You go to conventions to see if you can find an aquarium nearby.
I mean, it doesn't hurt that there's an aquarium nearby. We walked there.
Nice.
And then we found a sourdough bakery.
I saw that.
We enjoyed quite a bit of Seattle,
and Seattle's food.
And at the same time, there's so much more to visit. So I'm excited to go again next year or the year after and the year after.
All right.
Did you have any other questions?
No, I have questions. It wasn't only the aquarium thing. The aquarium thing was an add-on. All right. So my first question is, you have been to other conventions. Was this your first time at this one specifically?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Was there something that you really loved about it that was different than any other one that you'd been to before?
So I'll go first. I've been to, I think this is my fourth big convention, what I would consider a big convention. And Dani had an earlier flight than I did. It's kind of a side story. Dani had an earlier flight than I did leaving. So Sunday night, I was just kind of chilling at the pub connected to the hotel. And in walked some other con goers. I could tell by their cosplay, and they were talking, and we just kind of started up a conversation. And they were locals, and so they were able to give me a little bit of perspective on, I guess, the history of ECCC. One of them being that this year the con took place in two different buildings. So it's the same convention center, but it was I guess it was like the original convention center, and then kind of across the street and down a block was a new building where other aspects of the con were held. And so that was the first time I've done a big con where it was in two locations. So that was interesting, but I guess this was the first year they had done it that way.
I will say with the two locations, the nice thing is that the things that were separate made sense. So like so it was like the Summit Building and the Arch Building, and Summit Building had like all your exhibitors, all your vendors. The Arch Building was specifically celebrity panels, photographs, autographs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So some people did not like that it was in the two different buildings. My perspective was on Saturday, I didn't go to as many panels as Dani did, so I spent a lot of time in the Summit Building, which is where the vendors were, and the Artist Alley and Writer's Block. So I did a lot of that on the floor, the showroom floor. And for a Saturday at a big convention, it wasn't as busy as I expected it to be. And I think it was because a lot of the people were in the other building for the other panels and the autographs and such. So that kind of helped alleviate some of the congestion of what a typical Saturday would be on the showroom floor. But then kind of on the flip side, on Sunday, we were like, do we want to leave the showroom to go across the street to a panel? And we decided we didn't really want to walk that far, so we didn't go to a panel that we had signed up for. So kind of pros and cons. But that was kind of the biggest difference or standout that I can recall from this convention.
I think the way the convention center also helps aid in spreading people out. So like MegaCon is like one big room. And like they have a separate room with like the celebrity with like photo ops and stuff, but like you have your room, it has all your vendors, it has all your artists, it has all your autographs. But because of how the Summit building is set up, each floor was something different. So it was like 5 floors. So like
Oh, wow.
you entered, and if you went down was the marketplace. If you went to floor 3, it was the artist alley and like the books. Four, four floor was panel rooms, the droid depot, and then 5 had like this tavern, and like Jacques the Whipper was there, and there was like
They had
some
an
Star Wars stuff.
arcade.
They had an arcade, they had LARPing, like so each floor like had its own thing, which I kind of really liked.
So it's kind
Very
of
cool.
designated and it spread out the crowd. It's kind
Yeah.
of how it felt, which is different than a lot of different cons, a lot of big cons, because it's just a giant room where everybody convenes. And I think that's why it gets congested.
Yeah, because then you had like your floor if you wanted to go look at like the all the artwork versus all the merch.
mhm.
Cool, cool. Did you like do any autographs or photo ops?
No photo ops. One of our friends did a photo op. It was his first convention ever. So
Oh,
he did a
okay.
photo op on the weekend. I got 2 autographs from Celia Rose Gooding and Melissa Navia, both from Strange New Worlds, Star Trek. So they added to my comic that I've been getting signed for the last few years.
That was your like that was like your thing to go, right?
It was
Like
one
you
of the
was
things that really
yeah,
wanted
you're
to get me there.
motivating.
I only have a few more autographs, and a few of them will be coming to Orlando this summer.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit
All
a Star
right.
Trek convention this summer probably. And then we all did the John Boyega panel Saturday morning. And then Mari skipped the Star Wars panel, but the rest of us all went to the Star Wars Strange New Worlds panel.
Star Trek.
Thank you. Yes, the Star
It's been
Trek Strange
it's
New
been a
Worlds
long
panel.
couple of days.
I also
This is
just
off
recorded a
topic,
Star Wars podcast.
but I want you to know that I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and Nicolette sent me a text message that said, "Go to bed after the podcast. Do not read." That's why I was laughing because I was like, "Gosh."
And then we went to a few panels. So we swung by. There was a Harry Potter meetup that Shauna, Nerd Potsy,
Yes.
hosted. So we swung in there to see West Coast Potter people.
Sweet.
We went to
The
I know
cookbook.
Shauna goes to ECCC. Like,
that's
We
local
went
to
to
them
we went to a cookbook panel hosted by Inside Editions.
about
oh,
nerd
cool.
cookbooks.
So myself, who is not a cook, purchased like 3 cookbooks this weekend. They're all nerd inspired.
One was a cocktail book, but
Yeah. So
Okay, okay.
yeah, so I'm going to be a nerd chef, hopefully, maybe. But yeah, we went to a cookbook panel, kind of like how the authors come up with their recipes and what it's like to be the official voice of food for a specific fandom. So that was kind of fun.
yeah.
Um,
We
went
both bought the Percy
to,
Jackson cookbook and got that signed.
and it came with a pin. That was my selling point.
You were like, sold.
They showed her the pin, and she's like, "Well, I have to buy the book because I'm not giving this back."
Yeah, I was like, the pin is coming home with me, so I guess I need the book. But the recipes do look really, really good. And in my silly brain, I didn't even realize or didn't dawn on me that it's Percy Jackson and it's Greek god, so a lot of the food is Greek inspired. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But
I love Greek food.
it's on brand. So
We're gonna make some of the recipes.
mhm.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I think our first recipe was going to be the dog treats.
They were dog treats in there.
They have dog treats. How
They have
cute.
dog
We have dog
treats. They have this like Mediterranean salad I'm very interested in that has like hummus and a bunch of stuff that I was like, that's perfect for lunch.
All
And
right, I
then
want to
Madi got
see.
the
Oh,
Gamer's Cocktail book and then a Hyrule cookbook that's Zelda
Hyrule.
inspired.
Yeah, so Legend of Zelda.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
So a lot of it's a zine, which is like a miniature magazine style. So not your traditional book format, but it has a couple different creators in it. But yeah, it was Legend of Zelda themed, and I was like, okay, I have to get this.
Yeah.
That's very
Because
cool.
the artwork itself was pretty
Beautiful. We really
but then there's
liked it.
actual
A
recipes.
lot of the artist's artwork was like almost like vintage travel poster, but with like fandom places.
That's cool. Mari, you should do a flip through on
Oh,
Instagram.
I
Just
could.
saying.
And then Danny made um
Where did you leave her, Dani?
they when they had to go, I think it was either when they were at the panel or after they had gone to the airport. So I was by myself, unchaperoned, and I almost bought another cookbook. But it was tea and dragons.
Oh.
You hadn't told us about that one.
Then it had to have been Sunday
Now we
afternoon.
won't know because you didn't buy it.
I didn't buy it, but I did talk to the artist, and she said she's going to do a book too, and she's going to do a Kickstarter. So I have her business card,
All right.
so I can maybe get both of those. But yeah, it was very the art style was like watercolored, but then it was different recipes for tea instead of just put a tea bag and add hot water. So that was very cool.
Cool. Did any of you cosplay? Or did you go casual weekend?
We did some cosplay
Basic bounding
on Thursday. So our friend Becca, she was kind of the one who kind of got us out there. Her brother lives in Seattle, and she's been wanting to go to Emerald City for a few years. And when Dani said she was going, I was like, well, I'm going, which means Becca, you have to go because you go out there a couple times a year. So her brother decided to come on Thursday, and he has never done a convention either. And he decided he was going to dress up, and we were like, well, we don't want him to feel left out, or
so he
he's
came
the only
in
one in our
Jedi
group.
robes.
Yeah, so he was a Jedi, and then Becca and I both did a One Piece bound, and then Dani was
me,
Dani Congoer.
Dani the Congoer. That's a classic Dani cosplay.
Well, it was more so Dani in like autumn weather type congoer, like the hoodie, the beanie.
I know this one. I know
classic.
This one. I've seen it before.
Classic Dani misses colder weather.
Yes.
And it was perfect weather for Dani to embrace the cooler side.
The weather was great. What other panel? We went to a few. We went to the Viz panel.
Viz Media, so anime. We got to see some upcoming releases, and then we got to preview the first episode of a new show.
Oh, that's cool.
So I think we got Dani interested in anime, or at least watching.
I mean, you guys act like I've never watched anime, but like I grew up on like Pokemon, Digimon, and Sailor Moon.
Okay, well, you never talk about it. That's why
Cardcaptor Sakura was one of like my favorites. Okay. So like it wasn't you.
It's a hidden.
I mean, that's where I started drawing was anime. So sorry, it wasn't you.
Oh, I can't draw.
It's a good. I wouldn't say fandom, but it's a good medium
it's
to be interested in.
It's very vast.
Very vast.
Jude watches One Piece, like the animated one.
It's a doozy. There's over 1,000 episodes, and it's still ongoing. But I absolutely love it.
Every time I go there, all I see is teeth. I swear, it's like the whole screen is just like somebody's mouth. I'm like, what am I watching?
And then we hung out and saw BB Create.
Okay. Yes.
We hung out with
the hair. I saw his hair.
The curls.
I saw them popping.
They're long and curly and got a life of their own.
We swung by Orchard Works, and I'm trying to think of what some of the other booths we popped by.
Did you buy anything? Well, we know Mari bought some cookbooks.
And pins.
And pins.
And sweatshirts and clothing. I was very well behaved. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
But then Sunday you were left to your own devices.
Sunday I was left alone.
She was alone like a good chunk of Saturday and Sunday, so it was just asking for trouble.
I think I only bought one thing on Saturday, though.
Yeah, you did really well on Saturday. You were very proud when we finally came back to you.
So Sunday was I behaved all weekend. I deserve a treat. And so I've done a couple of these big cons before. The last couple of years, it's been like I'll do one big con every year. And so Emerald City was the big con for this year, not including Celebration. But so a lot of these vendors I've seen before, and I've purchased from before. So this year, kind of getting back to the showroom floor wasn't that crowded. And then being there on Thursday and then again on Sunday when it was less busy, I was able to stand and chat with some of the vendors more so than I have in previous years. And then also being able to be like, hey, I saw you last year, and then them recognizing me, being able to hold some conversations. So one of the booths that I stopped and talked to, and Danny joined me as well. His name is Dominic Glover. He's an artist, and I follow him on Instagram, and he'd mentioned that he had gone to Japan last year to kind of get inspiration, and then he also partnered with I think it was Astro Boy. So he was doing the official artwork for them, and so that's why he went to Japan. So I stopped at his booth on Thursday, and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to Japan in a month. Can you give me any tips and tricks and things?" And we talked for a good chunk of time, and his wife was there. I got to meet his wife, and
they screen dropped us some drinks we need to try.
yeah, so we got
photos of like, this is what we had every day from 7-Eleven. And this is
I love that.
And I was like, what shoes did you wear walking around Japan? Because it's a lot of walking. And so they gave us shoe recommendations and like different things to do.
They're the same shoes that Melinda wears.
So it was like a
it's a Dr. Scholl's like
a second opinion, yeah. Like this is what you need to get. These are the goods. So that was fun getting to chat and make new friends with them. So I actually chatted with them a bit since coming home. There's another vendor, artist. His name is Tony. He's Hand Over the Hero, and his style is he draws hands holding a character, and then the hands holding the character are related to that character in some way. Either it's like a villain, it's a mentor,
that's cool.
It's a character. Yeah, I got Danny some stickers. So that's
Toothless.
And the Light Fury.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so the hands are like their writers. And so he does a lot of different fandoms. And I've gotten some prints from his before. So I stopped at his booth and was talking to him. And I was like, yeah, I'm on your email list. And so we were talking about upcoming projects.
Very cool.
So yeah, I enjoyed just kind of walking through the vendor hall and talking to the artists and the vendors.
And then I have these.
What are they?
You can decide if you want to see them now or when I give them to you. It's up to you.
But I'm going to see you. Don't show me now. I'm going to see you on Saturday.
I'll show you the one I got for me then.
Okay.
It's Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh, so cute.
And then these ones are for you.
Let me see if I can figure it out from the shape. No.
And then there's another one.
I think we did good on not buying a ton of prints, but we did buy stickers.
That's like my new problem. I buy stickers now.
Well, my problem is I've run out of wall space. Not that I hang up all of my art that I have purchased in the past, but you only have so much wall space. So stickers, and then I also bought clothing. So I bought 2 hoodies from 2 different
leggings,
vendors.
Lots of leggings.
A
romper,
yeah. And here's my thing. My clothing that I purchased is all Japan adjacent because I can take it with me to Japan.
Okay, that was
the reasoning.
Yeah. I got Danny's stamp of approval.
You're like, Danny, can I purchase this? She's like signing off. That's okay.
I mean, something you have to have clothes. Okay?
Yeah. Danny's not going to let you walk around Japan naked, so.
Well, and then because one of the reasons, I don't want to say the main reason we're going to Japan, but I think what kind of pushed us out the door on Japan was Star Wars Celebration, and I just don't have a ton of Star Wars clothing.
Yeah.
My shirt is Star Wars. This is a shirt that I bought at a previous con, and the vendor we saw them in Seattle, and they were now doing sweatshirts, and I was like, well, I guess I should get a
YOLO.
sweatshirt.
Well, she wasn't going to get the sweatshirt, and then we passed a stranger on the street, and she stopped the stranger and was like, "How does your sweatshirt wear? Like, I've been looking at it all weekend, so."
Was like, I want a non-biased opinion from somebody like who's actually wearing it and using it. And they're like, oh, it's great. It's light, it's soft and fluffy. And I was like, all right, I think I'm sold. So I went back Sunday and bought it.
Were you able to you drove? No.
No, I flew. Oh my gosh,
You
that's another
flew?
story.
We all flew. We landed all around like midnight on Wednesday night. We all worked Wednesday.
Tired.
Yep.
I'm tired just thinking about it.
And then
Well, technically, we only landed at 9:40 West Coast time.
Yeah.
But for us, it was like 1,
midnight,
2.
yeah.
It was crazy, yeah. And then when we left on Sunday, I got a red eye that left at 11:59 p.m. because
I had made it
left,
home by the time Mari had gotten on her flight.
yeah, I hadn't even boarded yet. I was like in the process of boarding. But it was either that or leave at 9 a.m. or spend like $200 more to leave in the afternoon.
Yeah, so that is like the hard part of Emerald City is that it is all the way in Washington. And like, I wish we had more days because we had so much fun. We ate such good food. I've never been to a convention where I ate such good food the whole weekend. But it was like because where our hotel was, we were about 10 minutes from the convention center walking and 10 minutes from Pike's Place Market.
Nice.
So like both directions, we would go to breakfast because we were on like Central Time and East Coast time. So we'd be like awake. Mari's like, I love this. I'm awake before my alarm went off.
I was awake and ready and out the door before my alarm went off. I was like, this is a first. If you know me, I am not a morning person, but these West Coast conventions, it worked in my favor until we left. And it was daylight.
And then it was working against you.
Yeah. So like we would go to breakfast and still make it to like the opening of the convention.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But we would like pass all these good restaurants. So we really ate pretty well, even like when we were just grabbing bakery treats compared to like just eating like fried con food.
Ugh, con food is the worst.
It is. We got some seafood.
That's like the con of cons.
It is. It really is.
The con of cons is con food.
Yeah, there were a lot of good restaurants around the convention.
That were like just walkable, like within like 5-minute walk of the
That's
convention.
awesome.
Yeah.
Because even like the one night we were like, we didn't really want to like venture out and like go find somewhere to eat. So we went to the pub, which was literally under our hotel. And it was pretty legit. Like Mari had a pie flight. So it
had a shepherd's pie, a leek and potato pie, a steak,
chicken pot pie,
and then a chicken pot pie.
Were they like little?
They were little, yeah.
So cute.
They were very cute. Because
I had like a falafel. Becca had fish and chips. It was all very good, very vibey, without being like overly loud.
Yeah. And spoiler, Dani, Sunday night when I was leaving, I realized that there were stairs, a hidden stairwell from our hotel to the pub.
Oh.
So we had been walking out the lobby.
Out and like going around.
Out and then around and then like down. But when I was leaving, it was raining because Seattle and rain.
And you could have just gone upstairs.
Yeah, someone was like, I think there's stairs. I was like, so I asked my waitress and I was like, is there a back way? And she's like, oh yeah, you didn't know? And I was like, no.
No.
So next year, if we stay at the same hotel, we have easy access.
I think we would. We really like the location. Yeah. Even though it's a little further from the convention center, we liked being able to go to like Pike's Place Market just to grab something to eat and not have to like, it just felt very even because then we would just drop our stuff off at the hotel because we passed the hotel on the way to the convention center. So we'd run in, change if we needed to, and drop our stuff and go up again. Mm-hmm. So I would go back to Emerald City.
Awesome. You guys just keep adding cons to your list.
Yeah, now you have to add
You're
some
not
to
even
your
going to be
list.
home. You're never going to be home. You keep going to all these cons.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Well, right now, based on the schedule I actually have in front of me, we have Madi and I will be at Star Wars Celebration.
Woo.
Paula and I on different days will be at Epic Universe.
Yep. I'm going on the big time day, the second day.
I'm going on day 1.
I'm going TBD.
TBD. You
TBD.
might be with one of us. Then we have Enchanticon. We have Literary Ink. I have the Star Trek Orlando that I'll probably just do like a day just because it's local.
But what is it? Is it like a...
It's a convention.
Oh, okay.
It's a weekend convention that's going to be in Orlando.
But specifically for Star Trek.
It's all Star Trek.
Wow. It's a lot of Trekkies.
They're called Trekkers now. Just so you know.
Trekkers.
Why are they called Trekkers? That sounds dumb. I'm sorry.
I don't know when it actually changed. It's been a few years. But I've like heard of like the discourse between Trekkies and Trekkers. And even like in the panel, Anson Mount was like, I've been a Trekker since I was little. So it was just like, okay, he's even up on the terms. So
Trek. I have to look up why it changed. I'm not even a Trekker or a Trekkie, and I'm like, I need to know why.
the panel was really good. The autographs was really fun to get. Celia was very excited about the comic. So she's like, oh, I haven't seen this one. And she's like flipping through it. And she's like, oh, they did me right. They made me sexy. Oh, look at, and she's like pointing out. And then she just stops and she goes, I'm here to do a job. So it was fun.
That's funny. Did you guys get anything at the comic book store that you went to?
No, we took pictures of things. Madi
has a wish list.
I'm pretty sure that's where Griselda got my my friends, like now I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, it's called Golden Age Collectibles. They are the oldest comic store in the world.
They had a huge wall of games. They
had scripts. They had like a whole aisle of just scripts.
Yeah, that's what Griselda got me, the pilot episode script, and I'm pretty sure it's from there.
That would make sense because there was like a whole wall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was very cool. Very
but not like overwhelmingly so. Like also
it looked very
fun to look at all the corners.
Like really well organized, even though it was like a lot of stuff. At least it was real. When I was looking at it, I was like, oh, it doesn't look like.
And like we talked to like 3 different members on the staff, and they were all very nice and very informative. We had to actually go get Madi and be like, I'm sorry, we have to end your conversation because we have to go.
We had a panel to get to, so we had
we headed to the aquarium.
Oh, that was the
we went before the aquarium.
Right. Yeah, they had to pull me away. I think I only looked at half the store because I was just like, ooh, ah. And then I stopped and had a really lengthy conversation with one of the workers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely go back. But the other thing was we were at Comic-Con, or we were at Emerald City, and so there was a lot of that nerd memorabilia and collectibles there as well. So we didn't want to do a bunch of shopping at the local store and then also go back to the showroom.
We went on the second day, so we really hadn't explored everything yet. So we weren't ready to like start buying a bunch of stuff when we hadn't seen everything that was available at the con.
And then we also all had very limited baggage space.
None of us checked luggage.
How'd you get your stuff back, Mari? Did you get it back okay?
Yes.
How many pairs of leggings did you wear?
I wore 3 pairs of pants on the plane. In my defense, I had to walk to the train station in the Seattle rain, and it was cold. And then I had to walk from the train to the airport, and my fingers got numb. And I was like, well, how do I fix this? Put on the extra clothes that I bought.
One day you're going to be able to go somewhere, and when you come back, you're not going to have any type of luggage troubles. Well, that's going to be the day that I'm like, Mari finally got it.
Well, and that was one of the original plans. Was I didn't want to overspend because we have Japan coming up, and I'm trying to be budget conscious. So I was like, if I don't have room to bring stuff back, then I won't overbuy.
But you lied to yourself.
I
again
somewhat lied to myself, but again, the purchases were all Japan adjacent. And then I went to one booth and they're like, "Oh," I was like, "I just don't have room in my luggage." They're like, "Oh, well, we ship for you free of charge." And I was like, "Oh, you do? You can mail
That's
this
what
to
got
me."
her was the shipping. I may have been able to fit more things, except I may or may not have had an entire loaf of sourdough bread in my backpack.
You brought sourdough bread back with you?
Yes, from the Alaska sourdough market.
I was thinking, I was like, we should have asked them how old their starter was.
We probably
You should
These
have.
are the questions we
Because the
should
one
have.
I had was a double sour.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, kept thinking it was like London would love this.
Bread. That's why she wants to go to Paris. She wants to go to Paris and eat bread.
It was tasty too.
It was very good. And then we had breakfast sandwiches there, and they were very good and affordable.
I like it. I like it.
It was a
But
good.
yes, I also ate my bread on my drive home because I was so hungry.
Yeah.
So when I got home the next morning, I had to like cut it so it looked nice again.
I think she said that
the
her
marks
clothes
from
smelled
you
like bread.
digging into it on the way home.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. So, all right. Well, I love that you guys had a good time.
Yes, hopefully
Sounds
someday
amazing.
you'll be able to join us.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
One of us. One of us.
But until next time,
Keep creating.
dating.
Now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed, or worse, expelled.